is not in this comic.
I'm keeping that.
Okay.
Welcome to another edition of the Webcomic Beacon Presents First Issue.
Hi, Marcus.
Guest star Jeremy.
Main host Fess.
Yes, he is.
This is Harbinger. Harbinger #1 from Valiant Comics.
As in Harbinger of Ill Fate.
Harbinger.
Or
Well,
Harbinger
I did Harbinger.
Why do people keep thinking that? Like, there's a character named Harbinger from friggin' the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Everyone should know how to pronounce it by now. Well, not really, because not everyone was around for that comic. But whatever. Harbinger. It means a forebearer, something that will give a sign of things to come. Hence, they're mutants. They're just straight up mutants.
All right.
But whatever. Let's continue.
So, this is the fourth Valiant #1 that we've been reviewing so far. There are apparently more Valiant #1s still coming on the horizon. Not sure if what we'll do then. We might save them up again for another 4 in a row sort of thing.
I'm going to call them.
And see if you can get on as a writer.
I want to be one of these. These are too good.
I got a number for you.
Awesome.
We'll point them to these videos once we get them up.
No, they'll be like,
okay,
you said one thing that was slightly against it.
New Valiant.
Yeah.
New Valiant.
Big V, baby.
Four.
So that's awesome. Love it.
Harbinger. #1. Look at this cover.
Fucking sweet.
Which one of you... Okay, who didn't read every single balloon on this cover?
Of course I did.
I read every one of them.
I love a couple of these on here. Some of the few choice ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Don't burn it down.
Just in case you guys don't know where that comes from, that is from... Oh, shit. I forgot that.
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development. And, yeah, there was an excellent joke going around where basically the father was always... The grandfather was always saying, hey, there's always money in the banana stand.
Whenever you need it.
Whenever you need money.
Stand.
And because he's in jail for all kinds of tax fraud and things like that. So that the family is used to being rich, they are now poor, but he's always saying there's always money in the banana stand. They take this to mean the banana stand always turns a profit. What he actually means is there is $200,000 hidden in the walls of the banana stand. So at one point, in order to just be done with doing the banana stand, because no one likes to do it, and no one wants to just constantly be kowtowing to what the grandfather wants, they burn it down in defiance.
Well, no, I think they did it for insurance.
Oh, insurance, you're right,
Yep.
you're right.
They did it because
insurance
they're like,
money.
Let's burn it down. Let's
yeah,
get
but no,
the
insurance money. But it turns out, no, there's far more money literally within the walls. But I love that they had a little thing here because Arrested Development's been off the air for so long that it's now an interesting reference as opposed to something that's like pop culture and current.
But there's another one that's of choice.
Yes, there is.
Everything's Coming Up Millhouse.
See, one of my favorites is right next to it. Can't believe Drive wasn't nominated.
Yes!
Drive never survived past 4 episodes.
It sure as hell didn't. Now, where was the one I was... oh my god,
look at that
puppy! Yes. That one was excellent.
That baby looks like a moose.
That baby looks like a moose. Maybe referring to Exo Man of War with the little cherub baby.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, what it was.
Side reference.
I love this. Burn those rich. Beep! I miss Chappelle.
I miss Chappelle, yes.
Yes,
all right,
we do.
So
okay.
This cover, I like this cover. I mean, you got a lone soul in the crowd.
Yeah.
You do get some spacing away of some of the faces for the speech balloons, which is good. And the speech balloons are all like faded, so it's like whispers in his head.
Yeah, you understand. Like, even if you aren't really familiar with comics, the fact that these are not brought out and that they are like this, you get the impression that either he can hear all of them and they just want to be able to see their art, or it's in his head. Right. And you find out very quickly he's just telepathic.
Yep.
And he is, in fact, hearing these. Part of what helps with this impression is that there are no tails to any of these. All of these are just circles on their own, so you don't know exactly where they're coming from, and that makes it all the more disorienting. And thus, you get a little bit more of an impression of what this kid must be feeling like. I kind of wish he had more emotion on his face, because this seems more like the way he behaves once he's gotten medication.
He looks a little bit more... He does
solemn.
He's solemn.
He's very acclimated, or he's not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of, if you ever seen the movie What Women Want.
Yeah.
You can probably
idea like that.
Have a little bit more confusion on his face, maybe for the #1.
Yeah. Or what I was thinking is even have him like kind of on the ground, like or not even on the ground, but just like some way of visibly showing that this is bothering.
Something just trying to tune it out.
Yeah, something that makes you understand
just a little bit, but it's still
it works just fine here.
It does,
but it's like that would have been a little bit more,
bit, yeah.
But this is perfectly fine as I got what was going on and I was intrigued.
And I actually just noticed somebody's listening to Rihanna.
Oh my god!
Because I couldn't. I'm like Maya. Oh,
Maya.
So live your life.
Oh,
Gotcha.
Rihanna or the original song from what was it like? Uzbekistan or something. It was from somewhere way the hell off, like Russia. Yeah, the original song.
However, there is a balloon here that says, "I think I love Rihanna."
Oh, maybe it is.
What up?
Maybe, I think it's probably the Rihanna version because Rihanna had sampled this song that was really popular on YouTube with this fat dude just dancing to it. It's this something like Serbia or somewhere. Like, Maya.
No, that is that. You know, that is that.
It is.
All right, cool.
That's
all right,
funny.
references. They'll all love this tweet.
Yes.
All right, moving on.
We could be there forever on the cover. It's awesome.
Great cover.
Watch it. And this is one I really wish that they had a explanation thing on the side rather than an Exo Manowar.
Right.
Because this is the one where I think if you aren't familiar with the original, it'll be a little bit confusing. Mm-hmm. Because what they're kind of getting at is X-Men in terms of the very basics of the Harbinger setting. You have these people who have powers, predominantly psychic-based, not at least in the original, not necessarily. Like, it was always hard to tell. It was a little ambiguous. But the idea was this is the next step in human evolution that is explained later on. And but it's a little bit more ambiguous of whether or not it's human evolution or if it's just a subset of humanity that will become more and more prevalent. But that's the idea of Harbinger being the name of the comic, for example, is that this is a sign of things to come as opposed to a weird thing that just sort of happens on and off. Anyways.
All right, so it starts in the past. So it starts in the past. 1951, not as far in the past as the other ones. Yeah.
But what I like about this is that it gives the impression, and of course it is actually true, that the Valiant universe has a history.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And you don't get the feeling this is all, we're just jumping in right now, and there's no backstory. Like, there's plenty of it, and all of them have it, and this is one of the coolest.
Rich backstories.
Oh, absolutely.
So, we got this woman coming into this temple.
That's not a woman.
Are you sure?
That's Toya Harada. That's the...
Oh, I thought it was a woman. Anyway, it
looks like a chick because he's wearing that big...
I understood
Eskimo thing.
I understood it was Eskimo. I was looking at the face. Anyway.
Yeah, the face still looks feminine. I don't know why.
There's pursed lips there and everything there.
Unless they're trying to do a thing where, like, Harada's feminine, that makes him evil. I don't know. Anyways.
So, this character comes in, and there's this whole army, though, that's just guarding this temple. Got these... their guns all on them, and then he whispers, "Protect me from yourselves."
Yeah, they shoot each other.
Yeah,
Harada. Yeah, Harada is essentially, as we'll find out, kind of the Professor X of this universe, but he's not nearly as moral. And he's actually a very interesting person, but we'll continue. What I love here, though, is he's getting in there to go and find this monk who's been bleeding out for ages and won't die. And it's the coolest freaking image where there's like blood all in this this cave leading up to him, and he's on this throne that's just bleeding on its it's him bleeding, but it looks almost as though he's on a throne of blood.
Right.
And it's just
very
one of the coolest images, especially because of the way it's painted, the lighting.
Yep.
It's like on him this very ominous sort of way.
Actually, I could have had this as a full page.
Oh my god!
That would have been cool.
Yeah,
I would love
cave background.
I would love to have this on my wall.
Yeah, that's pretty cool lighting effects there. And
it's like, teach me how to use this power and shit. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it.
Jump to the future.
Yes.
Or present time.
So something like this. See how his face is here?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking for the cover. Something that where we understand that this is a little more obviously that this is bothering him. But we'll continue.
Well, even down here in this one,
he's just like,
grimace.
He's like, get it out of me.
No, I did not read all of these.
Some of these are some good ones. Where's the one that
just me and the internet all night long.
Some of the ones here and there on this page are actually some from the cover as well.
Oh, this is the one that creeped me out, of course, and I have somewhat of a personal reason. Was like, I'm not going to survive the cancer.
Oh.
I was like, this is not the time for me to hear that. I don't really want that one.
Right.
I'll kill the bastard for the insurance money. Okay, 1900 minus rent is 550. When's the last time you smiled at me? I'm not ready to have this baby.
All I want to be is a genius. Is that too much to ask?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very cool how they really drive home, even more than the old one, I think, with how many voices there are and all the different things.
You know what? I think the writer just trolled Twitter for a while for some of these.
That might be. When I was her age, I had 3 kids and an ex-husband, and she wants about her job. Norwegian black metal is the best thing in my life. Which is like, really.
I do kind of wonder what this says. Los asesinos seriales también tienen sentimientos.
I don't know. I don't know enough Spanish anymore.
But it's nice that they threw in some.
Yeah, there's more people who don't speak English. I mean, I've seen some of it in other scripts, but I don't know what the makeup of Pittsburgh is.
Los absencinos. If I can figure out what that word is, I could probably figure out what the rest is.
Okay.
But it was nice that there was another language.
This is just really fun.
Okay, so way too much time on that. So,
yeah, but who cares? It's a good comic.
So Mr. Inconspicuous pulls up to Ray's Pharmacy.
And it's looking banana yellow shit. Looking like a dude version of Jubilee coming in here.
The man with the yellow hood. Like, where's your monkey, dude?
Yeah, dude, where's your fucking baby monkey? But anyway, not this poking fun. Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah, just like it's very conspicuous. Everyone else is dressed really drab, and he's coming in looking like a human banana. You're not really gonna. You're not gonna blend in, buddy. You're trying to, especially when you're trying to rob the place with your mind powers.
I mean, does a mall baby love chili fries?
Yeah. And one of the things that I love about this is my first thought during here was, why aren't you paying attention to this?
Yeah, there's a camera.
There's a camera right there, and it's showing him stealing the stuff because he's like, you won't remember me, forget me.
Yeah, forget me forever.
Yeah, forever, yeah. Which is like, that's interesting, but the camera still saw you. Later on, they bring it up. It's like, we found you, dumbass. Like, sure, the guy forgot you, but guess what? When they checked the tapes to that day, you were right there stealing the shit, and that's how we figured out where you were.
I love the pharmacist. He looks so angry and pissed off, and then he says, "Stop talking. Give me some of the OxyContin, blah blah blah." And the guy's face still looks like you you got this damn gall, son.
Yeah. So be asking for you don't have a prescription for this shit. He's like, just give me that, all the money in the register, and then forget me.
So we're gonna skip more of these thought balloons.
Yeah, we'll be here forever if we go through all.
But he goes back to his. Is it his brother? Is it his bud?
It's his buddy. Yeah. Actually, and here's one of those quick things I was going to just throw out, which I did mention in Archer and Armstrong. Mm-hmm. Originally, according to Jim Shooter, he had intended for this main character, Peter Stanchek, I believe is his last name. I always forget his last name.
Stanchek.
Yeah. He originally had conceived of him as a gay character who was kind of going through the process. Like, he's still trying to believe he's heterosexual. He would try to, have a relationship with Chris, the character we'll meet later. But there are lots of indications in the early issues of the original run of Harbinger that he was actually having a relationship with Joe, which would be this character. Very different between the two versions. Like, in the original, they were both kind of suburban, clean-cut sort of kids. There wasn't really a lot going on in their lives. And Joe was a bit on the heavier side. He didn't look like a rock star. I don't mind this version of Joe, don't get me wrong. But it was a very different sort of setup, and it was kind of clear the way they behaved towards each other. It's a little something going on. That was the original intent. Eventually, Jim Shooter wound up leaving the company. More accurately, he was thrown out.
Of his own company.
It was fucked up. Okay, really bad situation. But long story short, that whole part of the storyline got excised, and they didn't bring it back here.
Well, this is still the number one. There's still time in case they
want to, but here's the thing.
It might.
Why would they? Because
you never know.
The reason why I'm okay with it, if they keep him heterosexual, is because he was heterosexual for 15 years and was only gay for half of one, 6 months before Jim Shooter got kicked out. I don't mind if you go ahead and go with the portrayal that was much, much longer lived. That's perfectly all right with me. Anyways,
so They get back together, talking about, all right, we find out they've basically been on the move. His friend should be taking medication.
Yeah,
so they're not just popping pills for fun.
No, I think he's a paranoid schizophrenic or something like that.
Yeah. He's paranoid schizophrenic, and he actually has powers.
Yeah,
he's trying to keep him numb.
Yeah.
Keep him numb. Yeah, like, which reminds me...
He's also taking pills, too.
Yes, it reminds me very much of Tetsuo from Akira, especially if you read the manga as opposed to the movie. The movie truncates it a lot. But in the manga, Tetsuo becomes very much addicted to these, like, ridiculous pills. Like at one point, one of the characters, like, kind of scans it and sees what's in them. And it's like, okay, you know how I give you, like, this handful of pills for the week when, you know... you want to get high, one of these granules inside one of these pills full of granules is more potent than all of that shit.
Right.
And that's what Tetsuo needed just to stay halfway sane. Halfway. He was still crazy. He was still killing people, but like he could get rid of his headaches two ways. Taking the pills or killing someone. So I like that. Almost a reference here where he has the same situation, and it makes sense as if the powers are coming from your mind and you're doing something that will numb your head, almost like Ritalin. You know, it stands to reason that it would work on these abilities as well.
So Mr. Inconspicuous gets into inconspicuous Dodge Challenger.
April O'Neil with a dick.
Well, no, right here, the Dodge Challenger, an inconspicuous muscle car.
Oh God, yeah.
And then drives off to. They basically find a house that's for sale that's abandoned.
Yeah,
and
that's his old house.
No, it's not his old house. It is his old neighborhood. The only reason why he's not in his old house because people live there.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm actually not even sure if that's the case. I think it was his. It may have been his house. There's a part where he's talking to Chris later. Here. Well, that's here. But that's what he's telling Joe. But when he's over with her, there's like something where he says, like, why did you going back to your old house? Or something? There's something where she kind of...
It's just the neighborhood. It could
just be the neighborhood. I think you might be right.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell. I kind of read it quickly because I don't know. So, anyways, let's just assume that this is correct and it's not as actual.
Yeah, we get a little cut back to this... other character,
Harada.
That's the guy from the beginning. The Harada, the guy from the beginning who's doing this business, and
now he can levitate. Yeah, and he does the same thing that
and they're also showing some of his business decisions, and he seems to be actually an upstanding business person.
Yeah, that's
like a decent business person.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at this and you think, oh man, there's going to be evil people
in America.
No, here's the thing. That's what Harada was always about. He was in very many ways evil, but he was never a force for evil. Like, he did things that were good. It was one of those characters where it's like, okay, we know he's the devil, but if we get rid of him, all of these charities disappear.
Yeah.
You know, like, he was always that kind of dude. He made sure he was indispensable.
Yeah.
So he never did things that were overtly evil on the business side.
Right.
There were some, but mostly his evil shit would be like, okay, this kid is kind of dangerous. I'm going to send my egg breakers, his, like, you know, tactical group of Harbingers. They're going to take him out.
Yep.
But otherwise, I'll keep doing good shit because if people realize, you know, if people want to take me down, they won't be able to because, hey.
See, I had no idea that was the case with this thing.
Yeah, well.
I had no idea. Now, I think you just spoiled it for me.
That's the old version.
Okay. It could be.
I don't know what's going on here. It could be just a good dude who's kind of a dick.
We'll see. So, and then we just, we get a little bit of that. So he's. Nope, they're going to bring him back. Yeah. There's going to be a little bit more information.
Harada's going to be around.
We cut back. We find out his buddy isn't taking his pills.
Nope.
Which is going to be a problem later as we find out.
But then he sees his old, well, not girlfriend, but a girl he fooled around with when they were 10.
They played doctor.
But what I like about that is he does explain, and in a very convincing way, kind of why. Because I would think, that's really immature and kind of creepy. And it is creepy. And it gets creepier.
It does.
Much creepier. However, the fact that he's been in a hospital for 8 years, and the last time he was out and having any sort of human contact was when he was 10. So this is the only... He says, like, it's the only thing I've ever had.
It does make sense.
Internally in his head.
Until this
panel. He's a fucking rapist.
Until this panel. Right. When it basically... Chris, fall in love with me.
Yeah. Now, here's an interesting thing about the parallel between this and the original Harbinger. In the original, it was a little bit ambiguous because there was not always an indicator like the glowing eyes whenever Peter would use his powers. He would just tell people things. It was kind of like the Jedi mind trick with no hand signals sometimes. It depended on whether they wanted to be overt or not on the panel. But a lot of times you just say something and someone would agree that doesn't make any sense and you realize he's using his powers. And it was ambiguous for a long time whether the old version of Chris was legitimately in love with him or if he was telling her to do it. And here they make it explicit.
Right.
He is
eyes glowing.
And this is actually the first one I picked up. Oh, Valiant. And I picked up my thumb through it. I got to this part, it's like, I'm not buying this comic. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, wow, I do not identify with this character at all.
It's very hard to sympathize with him after he does this, which I think is sort of the point.
Right.
Because I think what they're trying to do here is to make a parallel between Peter and Harada, where both of them are neither completely good nor completely evil. Unfortunately, they're human people. However, once you begin the first issue, and the main character literally rapes a chick.
He doesn't rape her.
Well,
actually, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, he did. That's the problem. So I was like, okay, no.
This is like
it's the same as slipping her a Mickey and just It's like, oh dear, this is not going to be easy. Now, they could get around it over time.
We could. Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, but right now, only person I like is Joe. Right. And Joe is crazy.
Yeah, and Joe, just to go back to the second plot line here.
Sorry, yeah.
No, that's fine. We got Joe basically mouthing off to the cops.
Yeah.
He's first off just feeding the pigeons, and then, oh, hey, are you Joseph Irons? Because he's out in the open. It's like, no, that's some other guy. And then he's like, no, you can't catch the wind. He runs away. Oh, he gets caught because he sucks.
He's just a dude. I mean,
he's just like, you jackass.
Yeah, to be fair, though, I think he lived a lot longer than he did in the original.
Oh, really?
I think, if I remember, he either dies at the beginning of the first or second issue. He's done real quick in the original.
So he still has a chance.
He's got a chance. I hope they keep him around. He's the only character I like. I mean, I do like Chris, but she's kind of brainwashed.
Yeah, now she's brainwashed.
I'm not sure she's herself.
So anyway, Joe's in the interrogation room, and we find out that this is the guy that has been looking for
fucking Agent Smith over here.
Yeah, Joe and was it Steve? Peter. Joe and Peter, and I don't think we get a really good answer of who he really is or why they're looking for others. They're clearly runaways or something.
Yeah, they're homeless and I believe they seem to have some indication that they know that Peter is psychic.
Right.
Because they want Peter
because they're looking for him specifically.
Yeah. Right. And they even talk about, you've been looking for us so long, you're not even the same person that we started going.
Because every time they fought him, he implies that Peter keeps wiping his brain.
Yep. And now it's messing
and leaves him naked in the street.
Yep.
Yeah, leaves him naked in the street. Yeah. So they clearly know that Peter's psychic. Right. They want him. If they wanted both of them, they would have kept him. They would have kept Joe.
Right, and they let him go
on purpose. They say, "No, we're not even after you guys anymore. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
And Joe's not in his right mind ever.
Right, so
he's not taking his pills.
But before we get to that point, we get Harada's calling him out, and the dog is talking to him, and suddenly all these other dogs are just
the son of Sam.
And I look at this, it's like, oh no, it's the red.
Yeah, he doesn't like the red.
Yeah, from Animal Man.
From Animal Man, I can't. I was thinking the Thing, but the red is far more.
By the way, you have to read Animal Man issue 0.
Okay.
Wow, fucked up.
Nice. I'm gonna have to.
I mean, I
read the rest of them.
You say Animal Man. They should just call it fucked up comic.
Yeah. Well, Animal Man always has been ever since like Morrison had it.
Yep.
And this dude, the guy who I got his name,
Jeff Lemire.
Yep. He also does Sweet Tooth.
Yep.
Excellent comic as well. Just completely by Animal Man, by Sweet Tooth. All right.
And Valiant.
And Valiant, all of them. All of them.
So Harada basically kind of, I don't know, matrixes.
Well, he's giving him illusions so that he can somewhat.
It's like, you're not using your full potential and blah blah blah. I'll take you under my wing, sort of thing.
Precisely Harada, and that's him.
Yep.
Yeah.
He is, like I said, he's like the Dark Professor X. This is what he does. He wants people to be the best that they are under his supervision, of course.
Yes. But he comes out of it, and Joe led them right to him.
He's like, "Hey man, everything's cool. They don't want us anymore."
I like how he's like, in no particular order. Hot chick sleeping in there. You're talking to a dog, and we're cool.
Yeah. In an empty swimming pool.
Not at all.
Not even close.
And that's basically where we end.
Shit goes down, but like, I couldn't figure out what this was at first. This is his foot, and he's like tapping the pill that Joe spat out earlier. I guess the idea is,
and that's the dog, yeah.
I don't know. That's Peter's.
That's
foot.
Peter's. this
particular he doesn't
have shoes. He's barefoot. He just he only has pants on because he was just raping that chick.
Yeah, he was too busy raping to actually put his shoes back on.
And then talking to the dog.
Talking to the dog. Like, you don't see his feet in like any of these panels, so you forget very quickly. But like here, you can tell.
Yeah.
Like, but you shouldn't go back that far. But it's just a little bit too close of a panel. I think the way this was built.
Right.
It kind of doesn't. I mean, like it looks perfectly fine once you figure out what's happening, but it takes a second.
Awesome! It's like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, because he's not in his right mind.
Right.
But it's like shit's going down.
So, Harbinger, like he had a bunch of snacks.
Yeah, Harbinger.
Okay.
His first name is Har. He's a binger.
Does this comic succeed or fail?
Definitely succeeds to me.
I think it succeeds as a number one because, like we had said, it gives you enough information that you want to read more.
Yeah.
It alludes to other things, so you can feel that there's a very rich history there that they haven't got to yet. Keep reading and find out more. So, I would definitely say it succeeds as a first issue.
All I would say is I wish they had a little bit of that extra information that they included in Exo Manowar. And
that would have been pretty good.
Yeah, that would be just
especially
a little,
for a number one.
Yeah, it's a little bit about parapsychology. They don't have to like specifically reference the characters. Just like a quick little thing on parapsychology and what they're kind of going on.
Right.
But it works just fine even without that.
But I think that might also be in the way that they're trying to tell this story is they don't want us to know.
Yeah.
We have to learn along with everybody else.
Which is perfectly legitimate.
Right.
Most stories really do it that way.
Yep. Right. It's a little bit extra. It's the other two comics have been more or less inert.
Right.
Yeah. That's true.
Information, but so for me, I guess I have to go. It does technically succeed, just because of the raping.
Yeah, the fact that
I'm kind of mad because of that. Is like,
I mean,
I apparently just pushed it out of my head.
That's probably for the best. But yeah, like I definitely understand where you're coming from with that because it is a content issue, very much like anything else. I mean, I was listening to a podcast called Only the Valiant. By the way, listen to it. It's a very good podcast. And they've been on for years, like long before the relaunch.
Oh, nice.
And we're just talking about Valiant comics in general and, discussing it week after week. Well, when the new ones came out, it was very interesting because there were two people who had very different opinions about it. One of them was a caller who called in. His problem was, I believe it was like Joe or Peter. One of them says "goddamn" at one point. And that was his breaking point. He was like, no, I can't. I'm a God-fearing man. I can't deal with somebody who says "goddamn." He doesn't say it himself because he's not that type of person. But, like he basically says, if anyone says GD, I ain't buying their shit. But he doesn't say anything about the rape.
Right.
The other dude, who's also religious, didn't even notice the goddamn, but was like, this dude fucking raped this girl in this comic book. Fuck him. So I'm like, that's really interesting to me that you have these two very similar mindsets getting massively different things out of the book and both finding the content questionable. And I'm I understand. I'm not a religious person, but I very much understand, especially the rape objection. That is something that's
always going to be a touchy subject, and it's not necessarily It's not taboo. It's
as a subject. I mean, it's always a hot button.
It's like it was like the dead parents, then it was the rape, is the new dead parents.
Yeah, that's very true.
And it's like as long you can still have rape as long as it's really written well and not a woman in the refrigerator sort of thing.
There's almost no way to do that properly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't even know.
I'm saying it can be, but I'm not saying
in
it
theory,
can never be.
Yeah, I'm saying like in the theoretical realm. You're not wrong. However, when it's the main character we're supposed to be sympathizing with committing it.
And plus, apparently, with another character that was a main character in the past.
Yeah, she was.
This has to have some repercussions somewhere, somehow. It has to be brought up.
I'm certain it will, because it was brought up in the original, and that was ambiguous.
I mean...
And I believe, as it turned out, he wasn't manipulating her, or at least he said he wasn't, and that seemed to be the truth. But however, Chris in that version was really boring. This one's a lot better of a portrayal. However, I do understand, and the problem that I have with it, honestly, is that I'm not sure the writer knows that it's a rape. That was what was bothering me about it the more I think about it, because there's no immediate repercussions. He doesn't have any second thoughts about it. There's nothing to me that indicates that the writer knows this was a wrong thing for the character to do. It almost seems because of the silence on the issue.
Right.
It's like silence equals permission. You know, like you're saying like, oh no, that was perfectly legit. No, he did it with the guy at the store and he got the money from him. It's the same thing.
You're looking at versus like hypnosis versus actual like brainwashing and commanding. Hypnosis is basically the idea is that your brain will stop you for anything that you really wouldn't do.
Yeah. We don't know which it is, but he seems to be just straight up like mind.
Yeah, so that's
mind control.
Going to be an issue. I'm kind of curious of if anything comes up after this.
Yeah, like that's the thing with me. Is like I will continue to read it until and unless we get clarification on kind of where the writer is going.
Have you been reading past this?
I have.
Do you have an answer for us?
I have not read Harbinger though.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Because of this, I'm sure.
Because he didn't even notice it.
Well, that's true. Never mind.
Right. I pushed it
that's
right
right.
out.
That's right. You did. I'm sorry.
I liked it. I liked it as a first issue.
Yeah.
It did make me pick up the second issue.
Okay.
But to me, there was so much going on in the other ones that wasn't going on in here that kind of turned me off.
A little bit more. This is a little bit too micro. A little bit too just this person versus. Well, those are a little bit more larger scale.
This is very much a human story.
Yeah.
It's human characters having human problems and human needs.
Yes.
Where the other ones were, sure, Archer's a human.
Yeah.
Armstrong, he's an immortal, or what is he? And you've got this fantastic element to it.
Yeah.
Same with Bloodshot.
True.
Regular guy, ginormous fantastic element to it.
Yeah.
And even Exo, not at all. He's a warrior through and through. So there's just this action-packed, awesome story where this one is the more methodical. Think it out. There's something going on here.
Yes.
And that's what's going to draw you into the story. It's not going to be action-packed all the time, but there's going to be plenty of action.
Yeah.
Because that's what the story dictates.
And that is how the old version did work too.
Right.
Like it was very much more like psychological, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
Of course, it was still the 90s. There were still mandatory action sequences that would occur, so it would come across a little odd once in a while.
Right. See, I would very much aken this to, like, the Runaways.
Yes!
From Marvel.
Yeah, very much
where
Runaways.
You've got,
almost do Avengers,
a group of kids that here's their lives. And it's not always action-packed. It's very story-driven.
Yes.
Which, in a lot of comics, they push that aside. And said, cool, let's get flashbang action. And it's like, cool, you've got the action, but let's make sure we have the story there to back it up.
Precisely. And that's what, like, for me, I'll see when they actually bring it up. And hopefully they indicate that this was not the right thing to do. If he can make it up to her or something, or if she leaves him and joins Harad, whatever that may happen, I hope that it at least indicates that, no, this was a wrong act.
Right.
Not that, she liked him anyway, as it turns out.
Right,
it's like,
let's gloss over everything.
Yeah, which is like, that would utterly drop it for me. Right. Because it's like, dude, you don't do that.
Right.
And especially you don't justify it thereafter. It'd be like if you watch Last House on the Left and did it in reverse. It's like, well, because we knew they were going to kill them, it was right for them to rape those girls. No. Please don't do that. Please.
All right.
Please. What are your names? Joshua Dysart, Khari Evans, and Ian Hannin. Please don't do that. Continue.
So, there's always free cheddar in the mousetrap, baby. That was Harbinger #1 from Valiant Comics.